You don't remember your last real conversation, not because it wasn't important, but because when it happened, you had no idea it would be the last time anyone truly understood you. When conversations fade away, you don't notice the last real conversation you'll ever have. It doesn't end. It just never happens again. You wake up one morning, same light through the window, same kettle humming softly, same wooden chair outside, facing that wide stretch of dry grass and sky. That seems to go on forever. Nothing feels wrong. Not at first. Just quieter. And that's what makes it easy to miss. Because conversations don't end. Like doors closing, they thin out. They stretch further apart. Like voices carried across an open field, until you can't hear them anymore. You don't realize how far they've gone, until you try to speak, and there's nowhere for your words to land. You sit there with your coffee, watching the wind move through the grass. Slow, endless, indifferent, the kind of movement that doesn't care whether you're watching or not. So you tell yourself, maybe it's just a quiet morning.
Who am I, Big
Maybe
Bang?
people are busy.
I still myself.
Maybe you'll talk later. But later becomes less and less.
Is that really my
Becomes
voice?
almost
It
nothing.
sounds so unfamiliar.
And
so
somewhere
strange.
in that stretch of time,
I keep trying to
something
say it, but
shifts.
the words just won't.
not in the world, in you. Because conversations were never just talking. They were where you existed, where your voice had weight, where your thoughts reached someone and came back changed, recognized, answered. And without that, something loosens. Something that used to hold you together, quietly, without you ever noticing. It happens in pieces, always in pieces. A mate you used to call every week, then every few months, then not at all. A familiar voice you once recognized instantly, now something you have to think about. And even when you do speak to someone, it feels different, shorter, thinner, like your words don't travel as far as they used to, like they fall somewhere between you. Instead of reaching across, you tell yourself it's normal. People drift. Life changes. But then, there's a moment, a small one. When it hits, you start to say something out loud. Maybe to yourself. Maybe just to hear it. And halfway through, you stop. Because you realize there's no one left who would understand it the way it was meant to be understood. No one to catch the tone, the pause, the part you didn't say, but expected them to know. And the sentence fades before it finishes. That's when it settles in. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet, steady unease that stays, because you begin to understand. You're not just losing conversations, you're losing the place where parts of you used to exist. I remember sitting outside one afternoon, the sky wide and pale, stretching so far, it almost felt empty, and thinking about how conversations used to fill my days without effort, sitting across from someone, talking about nothing, letting things wander, and somehow, in all that wandering, you were known, not explained, not defined, just understood. And now, in that same place, the space feels bigger, not because it changed, but because there's no one there to meet you in it, no one to narrow it, no one to hold your voice in place. And that's when you notice how much of who you were depended on that, on someone hearing you, on your words, having somewhere to go. And without that, something thins. You speak less, not because you choose to, but because there's no reason to turn thoughts into words that go nowhere. And the strange part is, at first, it doesn't feel like loss. It feels like quiet, simpler, calmer, until something cuts through it. You see something beautiful, and there's no one to share it with. And suddenly, it feels smaller, like it didn't fully happen.
I don't understand
And
this
that's
feeling.
when the question turns.
It's like my mind
If
has.
the conversations that shaped you are gone, who are you now? You try to answer it. Quietly, you speak out loud, just to hear yourself, checking
I thought we were going
if
to
it
talk.
still sounds like you. But even that
And
feels
so it
off,
ends with him at the
like
bed.
it belongs to someone close to you, but not quite you anymore. And there's a fear in that. Not panic, not urgency, just something steady that stays. The thought that maybe, without those conversations, without those exchanges, that reflected you back to yourself, you're not as clear as you once were, not as defined, not as certain. Where you begin and where you end, you reach for parts of yourself, like reaching across a table, expecting someone to answer. Sometimes something is there, a habit, a tone, a memory, and sometimes there's nothing. And that's the part that stays the longest. Not the silence, but what the silence reveals. Conversations didn't just fill time, they held you in place. And without them, you begin to drift, slowly, quietly, until one day, you're no longer sure if you're still the same person who used to speak so easily into a space that no longer answers back. And maybe that's the hardest part. Not the silence, not the absence, but the quiet realization that some versions of you only ever existed in the presence of someone else. And once they're gone, those versions don't come back.